There's valuable skills that a lot of agencies don't have in their open water course curriculum. What are they? Let's dive in and find out. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Tampa Bay Diving. My name is Blake and I'm a professional recreational scuba diving instructor and digital content creator. And I make these videos with the sole purpose to improve your dives. The ability to tie knots underwater and use them for scuba diving can be a lifesaver and make your time underwater more efficient. A lot of agencies don't have these in their curriculum, which I believe is a mistake. Certain knots are useful to know in our sport, so I thought we'd make this video to show you the first 3 knots every diver should learn and master. So grab a cup of coffee while I get the bench set up and we'll begin. Okay, so the first knot we're going to do is a figure 8, and this is one of the easier ones to do. What you're going to do is just make a loop, cross them, and then you're going to run the line around and back through the loop. So here we go, we'll pull it through and pull it tight, and you can see that it makes an 8 shape, which is where it gets its name, the figure 8. Now you can do this on multiple times on one line, so we'll do it again. We'll make the loop, run it around and up through the loop that we just made, and we have a second figure 8. And you can keep on doing this for as long as you have line and just use to make multiple spots. Here I'm not trying to mark any specific link, I'm just showing you that you can make multiple ones and you can do it on either end. So here we go, we'll do it again. And this is sometimes used to mark different spots, such as 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet on a single line, so that you can use that for a deco stop or really any kind of grip to where you want to hang on. And you can do it even with a little bit right there, as you see we just did on the end, and we have 5 figure 8s on one little 5-foot line. Now these knots will hold on as long as you have tension on them. To release them, you just release that tension, push the end up through, and they're easy to untie. But as long as you have tension on it, it won't come undone. The key is when you put that when you release that tension, then it will come undone. So as long as you got a line that has tension on it, then you should be good to go, and you shouldn't have any issues with this knot becoming undone. The figure 8 knot has a few different purposes. One is used as a stopper. You can run it through an opening and then tie a figure 8 to prevent the line from coming back through, which will stop that object from coming through that end. Another useful purpose is for making a grip or something to hold on to. Sometimes lines can become slippery and make holding on to in one exact spot a little difficult, especially if the line has been underwater for an extended period of time. So if you have the knot tied, it will give you something to grip onto, allowing you to have more control. I've seen these used in homemade John lines and things of that nature, and these are extremely valuable in making points on your line. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a deco line for your divers to hold on to and you want them to do a safety stop. Well, on shore, you can measure from the top side to the buoy and tie figure 8s at a 20 foot, 15 foot, 10 foot, or really any depth required, and the divers can hold on to that point, complete their safety stop until it's time to move up to the next point. Now we're going to talk about a figure 8 loop, and it's the same concept as before, except you'll just have a loop. So you fold your line in half, make a loop, and run that loop through just like you were doing before with a single end of a line, and that will make a figure 8 with a loop. So as you can see, everything's pretty much doubled because we folded our line in half, and that gives us a figure 8 knot right there with the loop on the end. And that's good for securing stuff. And like this one, as long as it has tension, then it will not come undone. It requires you to release that tension and push through in order to release it, but it's a good knot just to hold on to something. And so here we'll just go ahead and we'll get ready. We'll release that tension, and you can see it easily just slides back through. And that is the figure 8 loop. Now you may be asking, Blake, would I be able to use that knot if there's an object that I can't put the loop around after I tie it? And yes, but you just have to tie it around the fixed object when making the knot. And let me show you what I mean. Now, what happens when you've got a object that you can't get around and you just want to secure it with a figure 8 loop? Well, it's pretty easy. You just run that line around it. And as you can see, I couldn't go up or over. I couldn't run that loop up or over it. So I had to run it around. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take the end of it. Instead of using the loop, just take the end of it, make your loop, run it around, back around, and through the hole. And then this is a figure 8. It's kind of, think of this as doing it in reverse. So instead of doing it with the loop end, we were doing it with the 2 separate ends, but same concept, same knot. You got a figure 8 knot around a fixed object now, and you can pull or push or whatever you're going to do with it. The figure 8 loop has all of the same benefits as the figure 8, but with the added benefit of a loop. Let's say you're setting up a line to navigate yourself from the cleat of a sunken boat, a tree, or some other fixture to a secondary site. This knot secures it and makes it easy to run lines so you and other divers can follow it to the next item that you want to see underwater. I see this a lot in training sites where they will run line from a boat to an anchor point near a reef or whatever the next attraction is. But there is another purpose, and if you were to tie it on your deco line, then divers could clip off their deco bottles to that point and leave it there for when they come back up. I personally don't do that because another diver could come and take the bottle off, move it, and if your deco gas isn't there when you're coming back up, then that can make for a whole new list of problems, but some people do use it. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this content or getting some educational value and wanting to learn more about scuba diving, then dive down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that dive bell. Okay, so to make a bow line, what you want to do is take a long piece of line, make kind of a P shape, a capital P shape, and then think of this as the bunny rabbit. So the rabbit is going to go up the hole, around the tree, and then we're going to run it back into the hole. So, and then you're just going to grab onto that end and the long end and pull it tight. And there you've got a bowline knot. Now this is one of the most common ones used, and it's a really great knot to use and secure objects, pulling them, or just doing what we're going to do here in a second, making a buddy line. And as you can see, as long as this is in tension, it will not come undone. So let's do the other end. Let's go ahead and get the line situated. We'll make our capital P shape. We'll get the loop here. And then again, the bunny rabbit's going to go up the hole. Oh, let's get this tightened. All right, get a better shape. Now the bunny rabbit's going to go up the hole, around the tree, and then back into the hole. Now we're going to pull tight, and there. We have got a double-ended bowline knot, and this is good for using bowline. Bowline is good for using for a buddy line. And I often have my night and limited visibility students do this just so they know how to tie it, and we have a buddy line, but you can also use this to secure. So what you just do is you run it through the other loop and you can secure onto something. So if you need to make something to hold on, hold a spot, you can use that line to just kind of hold that in place, and then you can hang on to the other end there. And what I use this for is, say, making an anchor point to where I just want to stay in one spot. Say there's some current coming, or if I just need to kind of make a John line on the fly, I can use this and tie it around a figure 8 knot and just kind of hang on from there. And like the other ones, this one will hold in place with tension. Let's just undo this real quick. And then you can see here, once I release that tension and push back through, the knot will come undone, and it's easy to untie. It's easy to practice, but after a few times of just doing this, you should get the hang of it. And this is really useful to know, guys. So just kind of practice around, play with it, get yourself a 5-foot spare foot of line. Now, if you only learn one knot ever, then I want you to learn this one. The bowline knot creates a reliable loop that can be easily untied and is indeed the most common knot used. I use this on a lot of my dives, but especially with my night/limited visibility students. Because tying a bowline knot on each end of, say, a 6-foot line creates a buddy line for me and my student to hold on to. That way we know we're within 3 feet of each other. But let's say you're both certified divers and doing a running line jack drill and following a line underwater that you can't necessarily see all of the time. Well, you could run that line through one of the loops and then hold on to the other end of the line, and by doing so, know that you're always going to be heading in the right direction on that line. A lot of agencies don't require knots in their open water course curriculum, and I think that's a mistake. Knots are very useful and can help divers recover lost gear or equipment, know valuable points of reference, and in some cases be life-saving. We as instructors can't take anything out of the curriculum that they give us to teach, but we can add things in the courses. That's why every student who comes to me will learn how to tie these 3 knots at a minimum and other skills because they're just so useful, and I believe it's valuable to know. I always look to add value to my students' education because you guys are spending your hard-earned money for me to teach you, and I want you to walk away with the feeling like you got more than just the minimum. If you enjoyed this content or got some educational value and want more scuba content, then hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that dive bell. And I'll be back next week with another video, but until then, plan your dive and dive your plan.